On June 6th, NASA astronaut Suni Williams danced her way aboard the International Space Station. It was a joyous afternoon for both her and fellow Starliner crew member Butch Wilmore, a moment that was years in the making. The docking of Starliner to the International Space Station was also celebrated back on Earth by members of NASA, Boeing, and United Launch Alliance. For the first time since the Commercial Crew Program selected its two providers in 2014, both SpaceX and Boeing now had their spacecraft docked to the orbiting outpost, and both carry NASA astronauts up with them.
We had a vision to increase the reliability and safety of sending NASA astronauts on their missions to the ISS while returning the capability to do so from the United States through a partnership with American private industry. We are continuing to make that vision a reality.
For anyone following the road to this moment, the path for Boeing was neither simple nor straightforward. Software and hardware issues through the development process pushed the crew flight test of Starliner back years and cost Boeing about $1.5 billion. But after 2 launch day scrubs and years of working through difficulties, launch day finally came, and with it, some words from the crew, now fully reliant on the work of the Boeing engineers behind the Starliner program.
And we all know that when the going gets tough, and it often does, the tough get going. And you have. And Suni and I are honored to share this dream of spaceflight with each and every one of you. So with that, LC, let's get going.
Go Atlas. Go Centaur. Go Starliner. Godspeed, Butch and Suni.
And get going, they did.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
All right, we've been here in the sim many a time.
Ma'am.
Captain.
2, 1, ignition.
Oh,
Suni, we are
Woo!
There goes that wire.
we're going.
The rocket had a smooth ride uphill, as they say.
This is smooth.
Super.
ULA President and CEO Tory Bruno later shared a launch target bullseye graphic highlighting the precision of the Atlas V rocket launch.
Yeah! Yeah!
Oh, man. Wow.
And the moment of separation of Starliner from the Centaur upper stage.
All right, LV step complete. We see where our mode is in orbit.
Yeah! All right.
You know, I'm coming up on 450 personal launches. Pretty sure I'd seen everything. But I have to tell you, there is absolutely nothing like this. And we are very, very proud to join this human spaceflight community.
Shortly after spacecraft separation,
Yeah, if you could relay a message to our brethren at ULA.
Wilmore had some words for the ULA team behind their Atlas V ride to space.
Yeah, they've been a member of the family for a long time, but now it's official, and we want to welcome them to human spaceflight.
After this point, though, the rest of the climb uphill became more of an uphill climb. Starliner's sublimator system, which helps take heat away from the coolant loops, ended up using more water than anticipated.
We think maybe there's an ice block that forms, and maybe that didn't form quite like it needs to form. The crew spent some time. We have a refill kit, so they filled the tank back up just in case we would need it. We have enough water to use that for entry coming up at the end of the flight. So we'll have plenty of capability there, and we'll learn a little bit more about the sublimator. If we look forward to Starliner 1, we have already, Mark and his team have worked on a design upgrade and have a little bit bigger tank already sized for that mission for 4 crew. So we already have that in place for Starliner 1.
Another notable item during the rendezvous period was a series of 4 helium leaks that popped up, 3 of which came into play following liftoff. They're part of Starliner's service module helium manifold, which provides pressure to the reaction control system thrusters. Their solution was closing off certain manifolds when not needed for thruster burns. Mark Nappy, the Starliner program manager for Boeing, says right now they're working on the hardware supporting the first full crew rotation mission for Starliner in the hopes that they won't see these types of leaks again.
We have multiple doghouses not installed on the vehicle that we are starting to tear down, and we're looking at how to do some type of screening test where we can determine if these seals are leaking on the ground with some level of pressure to them so that we can screen for this problem. We also have the service module 6, which is ready, or getting ready for Starliner 1, and that system is not not filled with propellant yet. So we can break into that if we need to and do some work.
Finally, flight controllers ran into an issue with 5 of the RCS thrusters that were not behaving as expected, and the software took them offline. That caused Wilmore to take manual control of Starliner more often than initially planned as they performed hot fire tests to bring certain thrusters back online. Ultimately, they pushed on with one of the thrusters being kept out of the loop. It's something that NASA leadership determined wouldn't impede them from being able to dock and continue the mission.
And these thrusters are similar to what we saw on OFT2. We don't quite understand why they're happening. We took a couple of actions in the software to mitigate potential fail-offs by the GNC part of the software. Again, we recovered the thrusters, and they were working just fine during the rendezvous, except for one that we left inhibited. These are not at all related to the helium leak. The helium leak is separate. It's in different doghouses. It's different thrusters, so the helium leak and the thrusters are not at all related.
Since Starliner has been docked to the International Space Station, Wilmore and Williams have been busy with a number of tasks, including giving a handheld tour around the spacecraft.
But this is the control panels, one right here and one, here, I'll move the tablet. One right here, and we can operate all sorts of systems through the computer screens. We also have controls to fly the spacecraft. We have a rotational hand controller, and actually behind the camera, might be a little bit hard, is a translational hand controller. And that's how we were able to fly the spacecraft. If you remember us coming in for a rendezvous, or on the first day actually, we did a bunch of test points where we both flew the spacecraft, and then on the second day, of course, Butch is the commander sitting in the commander seat, got to do some manual piloting on the docking axis.
In order to create more separation between the undocking of Starliner, which was targeting June 12th, and Spacewalk 90 on June 13th, mission managers delayed the undocking of Starliner to no earlier than June 18th. However, with the delay of the spacewalk due to, quote, suit discomfort, it's unclear if there will be further scheduling shuffles.
To have it back-to-back, where we had an EVA followed by undock, was really not the most convenient. From an ISS standpoint, we did want Butch and Suni to help us with a few things, and really the best course of action we all decided collectively was to push the CFT undock and leave the EVA on the same date.
With the benefit of extra time, Williams and Wilmore are able to lend themselves to on-orbit science research, like a genetics technology demonstration that Williams participated in, which was co-developed by both Boeing and NASA with the codename Gizmos. The return to Earth for Starliner is its last big milestone. Mission managers are assessing that, including now a 5th small helium leak that was identified in the Starliner service module and described in a June 10 blog post. They're determining, quote, what impacts, if any, these leaks would have on the remainder of the mission.
For a helium leak, there are a number of helium leaks on board, and we can't really stop those necessarily, but we can manage the consumables usage by closing and opening valves, shortening the time frame for the crew to come home, just generally making sure that we have enough. And currently we have a lot of consumables if the leaks stay at their current rate. So we have a lot of helium on board. So that's the way we're talking about resolving and managing the types of observations that we've seen thus far on the mission. But we'll just walk through each and every one of those methodically this week and make sure that everybody is in agreement with our forward plan.
Reporting for Spaceflight Now,
thank you all so much.
I'm Will Robinson Smith.